I have a space heater at my feetses because I'm old.
66.
That
Little
feels
chilly.
nice.
No, it feels great. It helps with my arthritis and my diabetes.
With your compression socks. And...
I felt bad because the other day I was on post and I went to the PX and they were selling some old lady socks and they're just like, it'd be really good for like your mother or your grandmother. And my aunt, she would love them. Like, and they were like $2 a thing, but it's just like, my aunt does have diabetes. And I was like, I don't know if these are diabetes approved. Holy shit.
Welcome back.
Mission
That was
successful.
What did your sign say? We couldn't read it.
Oh, it was too far deep back momentarily. Dot, dot, dot.
That was perfect timing. I literally just started recording the third part.
Perfect. Wonderful.
Okay, so we find Jeb tied up, surrounded by knives. No, don't worry, you'll catch up. So, y'all are staked out. Peter and Jacob and Frank at the meth lab. Pretty much what happened, Jeb, is they found underneath the meth lab there's like a crawl space, and the two brave hunters, the last bastions of humanity, said, "Let the werewolves do it."
Yeah, fuck yeah, we did.
Yeah, Peter doesn't
You
like
would
to
too.
plan
Come
shit,
on.
so-
Be real.
Sorry, not sorry.
100%.
So Frank, he's sitting over out there, kind of between where Jeb is at the top of the pit. There's a ladder going down there. You're shining your phone down in there, Jacob, occasionally. Ladder, just standard metal ladder you'd probably find at O'Neill's Hardware. And it's going down to like wooden planks that have been laid down, and it's kind of veering off, but you don't really like it. It's a good 15 feet down into the dirt, and it stinks. It stinks down in there. But Jeb, he's pretty much between, he's underneath the trailer as well, between you and Peter, who is very much still out in the open, where the pterodactyls could easily pick him up. Just and he goes, so what's your thoughts, guys?
I mean, the wood planking is surprising.
He's like, what do you mean?
It's like a mine shaft or something.
You anything about like any mines or anything like that in the history of this place, Peter?
I mean, mining has been done in almost all towns at one point or another, but should anything be this close to town, it would surprise me.
Why's that?
I just never found anything to indicate any mines were this close to town.
And Frank goes, plus, it wouldn't put it past. I wouldn't put it past some really shady real estate dealers, but I mean, putting a trailer park above it, that seems pretty unsafe. If it's a mine shaft, this is weird.
Do you think it might be like an old fallout shelter from 50 years ago, Frank?
Hard to say. Oh, what's up?
I'm gonna say, do you remember things like that being built here around that time, or?
He goes, well, I was a kid at that time. My dad would he'd do the bomb, go hide underneath furniture for whatever good that would do. But we didn't really have he's like, I think one of our neighbors had a bomb shelter, but the thing is, those were usually fortified. They weren't just dug into the dirt like this.
Right.
And something you notice is that it's you wouldn't necessarily it hasn't been dug within the past 3 days, but this it's still all things considered, it's a fairly new thing. There's not grass or roots growing around it or roots growing through it. It's It's been. I mean, if it isn't new, it's been fairly wallowed out over time.
Yeah.
At which point you hear something kind of moving down underneath the hole, and you see Clancy. He comes up and he looks just straight into the light, covers his eyes, and he goes, "It's safe if you guys want to come down, but I'd cover your mouth and probably your nose."
All right, I'll go down first.
Okay. Frank looks back at Peter and he goes, "You coming, Pete? You never know what you'll find."
After you.
Okay, yeah, you guys head down, and you go down 15 feet down the ladder, follow the wooden planks, and it isn't long, and it reeks trash and garbage, excrement. It all hits you. It's pretty rank. Your first instinct is pretty much do that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's gross. Flies buzzing around, kind of whipping past you. You're shining your light though, and it's like the floor is covered in it. Far more than one person should naturally produce in just a couple of weeks.
This reminds me of when I was a kid, and my dad would go on a bender and just leave shit in the sink for days at a time, and I was too small to try to clean it, so our whole house smelled like this. This is more than just shit.
You see Park. He rounds the corner and he goes, "Yeah, this is rot. Is what it's like. Just
He's
he says, yeah, and it gets worse, if you can believe it. And you're it is a narrow passageway, just barely enough to you're trying not to, but some part of your body is at all times touching a wall. And yeah, it's slick.
Oh, Peter, how are you doing, man?
Yep.
You know what? We're going you know what? Peter, you get to make a mark. You get to add +1 to a die roll in the future. You get to throw 1 extra die. That was beautiful.
Perfectly in character.
This is unbelievably disgusting. I am going to say that this is going to require an integrity check,
Okay.
which you guys are going to naturally get a. Actually, hold on a second. Let me look that up real quick.
Excuse me.
Damn it! Cancel. Uh, 73.
It's resolve plus composure, right? Normally.
Well, there's a bunch of modifiers. Okay, so yeah, each of you are going to get a +2 just for having your your touchstones, and if it's 6 or 7, you're going to get a +1. So you already have +3 dice, and we will say this is in accordance with the hunt. So you'll get another +1, and take those 4 and roll them. Hold on a second. What's the integrity roll?
Resolve
It's right
plus
here on the
composure.
sheet. Yeah, resolve plus composure +4.
Okay. Jesus.
What that dice pool looking like?
I got 4 successes.
Yep. Hang on, I got to roll 10 dice.
That's good though. That is good in this case.
1 success.
Wow.
Oh,
Damn.
Well, you both you don't lose integrity, but you will take a condition. Pretty much the normal ones: spooked, shaken. I would imagine. Or guilt if you feel guilty wallowing in human doo doo.
Peter's going to take shaken.
How about you? Jakob?
What are my choices for a condition?
Spooked. Hold on a moment. Where's the conditions list? Dagnabbit. I really should just invest in a book. It's easier to just flip through the shit. But I keep not doing that. Okay. That's tilts. I don't really use that. Where the fuck is it? Hold on a moment. I apologize, gents. I had these written down at some point, but I can't find that notebook.
Okay, I thought I put it down somewhere too. I'm trying to help out, but
Find it too.
Page 76.
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't help at all. Okay, you know what? Basically, here's how
okay.
it works. If you
I
take
found it.
spooked, pretty much it doesn't give you any kind of negative effect, but you get a free beat if you basically, it's pretty much the hey, what's that spooky noise over there? Or that's spooked, and if you take shaken, pretty much later on you can get a free beat if you're like you basically just run away from the situation. Or you automatically decide to take you just automatically fail a roll that you would have succeeded. You can just be like, you know what, I'm just going to fail that and take a beat.
I'll take shaken. I just feel like lore-wise that might be appropriate, just because it's like as Jacob said, the smell is giving him like some small PTSD of remembering what it was like living with his dad. And,
Okay.
The destitute position when he was a kid.
Okay, yeah, just mark those conditions down on your thing so you remember that, you can try and resolve it in the near future.
Okay.
Yeah, and pretty much once you get on the other side, you see what Parker's talking about. There's a lot of dead things piled up. Some of which are animals, some of which are people. None of the people look fresh. They look like they might have been exhumed.
What is this?
At which point, Clancy goes, "This is our Bechelous nest. This is pretty much where he's hanging out most of the day. I'd imagine that he probably has like a satchel that he keeps up nearby, maybe like a backpack with a fresh change of clothes. Comes out at night when nobody sees him, goes upstairs, showers, cleans it up, keeps a nice appearance. But this is his home."
I'm sorry to complain, gentlemen, but this is not a very magical adventure so far. Like this is more just gross. But you guys are talking. Oh, okay.
I mean, what's our next move though with this? Can we destroy this nest? Like, would that do anything to like shake this thing out?
Would it make it mad if we like put a nice paint over it or like cleaned it up a bit?
He goes, "Well, funny enough, both of those are options that would rightly piss it off. Problem is, what would it do once it got pissed off?"
Well, y'all are the spectral hunters. You tell us.
Oh, shit. All things
Damn you,
have gone
sheep.
bad again. The sheep has failed me once more. 1 second. Oh.
No.
Okay. Part goes, "Well, there's just still a ton of things that don't make any sense. Like, why did they set up that party near where the deer man was, and why was Geek's hand found near the school where Hazel is? There's just way too much that we just don't really know. But if we destroyed this place, like, we could torch it. We could fill this thing full of gasoline and just burn it. I mean, there's enough gas down here that this place would probably go up pretty fast.
Would that not endanger the other trailers in the area?
Frank goes, that's a pretty good. That's good thinking, Peter.
I'm standing on something squishy, Frank. I'm not doing this.
He goes, well, I mean, I guess not all cryptids are going to be fun, though. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about this, Peter.
Not all cryptids live in shit caves.
I mean, procedurally speaking here, like supposedly if we did set this alight, like in the department, like how would this report be, I guess, hidden? Like gas main explosion? Like what's...
He goes, well, here's the thing. The whole precinct knows that Geek's slinging meth. Like, we don't have anything concrete, but we all know it. But you saw it there. There's nothing that we could say, oh, his meth lab exploded. Why am I talking like Frank? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, you saw it there. There's nothing in there that would rule that he's cooking anything down here. There's not even any gear down here. He's like, I mean, I honestly can't find anything. There's he's like, give us a second though. We're gonna try some things.
All right.
At which point,
oh boy, we get to spend more time here.
At which point, Clancy, he grins and he's like, "Oh, you don't get this. At least you don't get to see the worst parts of it."
And if you think the smell is bad for y'all.
And Park looks over at Frank at Clancy and he goes, "So you're gonna make the jaunt?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm gonna see what I can find."
Oh, I know what he's doing.
And yeah, pretty much to both of your eyes, it's as if like you just see Clancy. He takes a deep breath and he just kind of breathes out and he's just gone. He just completely vanishes.
Mm-hmm.
And Frank goes, is that a normal thing?
Am I allowed to comment on this?
Sure.
Hi, officer. I don't mean to alarm you, but your friend vanished?
He's technically still here, Peter. He's just on the other side.
Break on through to
okay.
the other side.
Can I go there too? Is it better?
You don't want to go there.
Yeah, Park says, yeah, you really don't want to go there. If you don't like it here, you're really not going to like it there.
Oh, well, okay then. And Peter just sits down in a folding chair, I guess.
You actually, Peter, you're kind of stumbling around and you trip on something.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
And you fall backwards.
Oh.
And your hand rakes across something slimy and wet, but it doesn't stop, and you break through wood.
Uh-oh.
You're laying in shit and filth and bodily fluids.
Yeah.
But you did just break through something.
I'm so sorry to bother you guys, but could someone please help me?
All right, don't move. I'm trying to fight back laughing.
I'm holding my hand up in the air. Could someone take my hand?
Frank runs up to you and he grabs you with the shoulder that's not been shot, and he just hoists you up. He's like, "Man, I'm sorry, you're getting the rough end of this, buddy."
I'm just gonna stand here and breathe. You guys, baby, look.
I think you found something, Peter.
At which point, you guys hear Clancy say, "Hey, good news, guys! There's a hidden room in here somewhere."
Oh my god!
And he sees you, Peter, and you follow him through, and he goes, "Oh, okay." Peter, you're looking around, and yeah, you think that you it must have been some kind of like really crudely thrown up door that just wasn't on its hinges very well. And you didn't so much like break through it as, you just kind of leaned forward and just fell through the area, the way the door swung. And you do find what looks like a very rudimentary like chemistry set, like shit stolen from like a local high school or something like that. And yeah, Bunsen burners, like and like Bunsen burners and freaking like stove eyes, like a mixture of like good stuff and just really dirt cheap stuff. You do see product, but you also see a lot of like bird feathers and a bunch of animal bones strewn about. Most of them around a mortar and pestle, and it looks like it's just been ground into a powder. And it is a neon green color. And yeah, Jacob, you recognize, it is the same color as the shit that Geek gave you.
Well, here's your lab, Park.
He goes, all right, well, we could blow it up. We could do that. This is enough to call in some reinforcements, but we'd have to come up with a pretty good story as to why we were even out here.
I would not like to see anyone right now. And as he says that, Peter's like taking various pictures of everything.
Peter, while you're taking pictures, you also notice a suit. A very old suit made of it looks like there's a jacket and a hat, and it's human skin.
Peter takes a picture, pulls the Polaroid out, and just goes, "Well, this is just a day."
Raggedy schmaggedy doo.
Gentlemen, I just took a picture of I can only describe it as a skin suit.
What?
Park goes, okay, that's kind of weird.
That means something.
No, you're right. You're right. That really throws off the ensemble.
He goes, no, that's the thing. They don't need that kind of thing.
They don't need a skin suit. I'm getting flippant, but I just fell in, and I'm not happy right now.
He walks over to it and looks at it. He kind of brings it up to his face like this, and smells it. And he goes, "This is cursed. We need to get out of here. This isn't good."
Okay, like obviously leave this here and skedaddle then? Like, what do we do about this place? Do we need to set the light?
And he's like, honestly, that's you guys' call. We're trying to mitigate stuff. This would set him back, but it's going to make him pissed, and that's the big question: is what's going to happen if he's pissed and he's not dead?
Jacob, look, I don't want anyone else or any of the other homes to be hurt over this, and we know where he is. If we get rid of his base, he might move somewhere else.
I agree. Well, I'm more thinking about, to what Park said, like, this thing becoming enraged just introduces a whole slew of X factors that I don't think we at least are prepared to deal with.
I fully agree. Also, the skin suit.
Yes.
Could you, either one of you, roll, let's say, wits and investigation?
All together?
Yeah, both of you.
Okay.
-1.
One success.
Nice.
Something.
2 successes.
Okay. You both hear muffled crying from behind the skin suit.
Clancy, Park.
Peter's not going. Peter just noped his way out of this.
Is Peter going to be cashing in his free beat?
I don't know if I want him like running out of the thing completely, but he's not going anywhere further in this room.
Jacob, it sounds like Mercedes.
I'm gonna call her name out. Mercy.
You just hear, Mr. Adams, is that you?
I'm gonna look at like Park, like you know what's.
He kind of looks at the suit, kind of like does this kind of thing, and he goes, "Okay, this is going to sound crazy, but if we walk into the suit, we're going to go somewhere." This is he's like he looks at Peter and he says, "You know, we're talking about like gateways to other worlds. That's one of them."
What if we walk into the hat?
He's like,
Find a bunny.
he's like, it's more or less the same thing. You walk towards it, and once you hit it, you just keep walking forward.
Is that where this crying is coming from? Is like best as I can distinguish.
He says, "Yeah," and he says, "I'm not going to lie. If you guys want to go in there with us, you're going to be safe. We're not going to let anything happen to you guys, but you're going to see some things that might make you a little uncomfortable."
Oh, God.
Well, I'm covered in uncomfortable things, so in for me.
Well, let's go.
All right. Yeah, pretty much. It's as he said. Like, you are walking towards the suit, and like you feel it pressing against you, but like you're still walking towards, and you are constantly feeling it press against you, but you are still like moving into a room that you didn't even know was there. And it's almost as if the skin outfit was keeping you tethered. And yeah, once you get to the other side, it's a nightmare. It is dripping with just sludge and rats. Huge vermin, and they're all looking at you with yellowish red eyes. And in a corner, you see Mercedes. She's not touched by the rats, but they're all watching her too. And the two other gentlemen, Park and Clancy, they come in through the other side, and all the rats look at them, and they start talking in a language that you don't understand. But the other gentlemen are responding, and the rats, you know, they're clearly upset, but they don't move. And Mercedes, she looks at you and she says, "Mr. Adams, where the hell am I? Where?" She says, "What is this?"
I'm just gonna like extend my hand and just tell her, "It's like, come over to me."
She just runs and just hugs you.
Okay.
She is shaking. She is terrified. And you see Clancy. He goes to the biggest rat over there, and they're having some kind of argument. You can get that much just from you know, social context, tone of voice, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And but the rat, you know, it gets angry, but it's just kind of cowering down. And eventually, Clancy, you know, he just spits at it and he goes, "We got to go."
All right. Well, let's get out of here.
Let's do that.
Frank, who did not go through there, he ain't about to do that crazy shit. He goes, "So how bad was it?"
Clancy, what were you saying to that rat?
He's like,
Sentence I didn't ever think I would be saying.
He says, I was just putting it in its place. Our boy Geek, he's not working alone. That's what that skin suit was. We're dealing with one of our cousins.
Your cousins?
He's like, we'll wait till everybody gets together and we'll explain a little bit more in detail. And we're going to cut right there. Bloop.